Welcome back Pokefans, the Pokemon Astra Adventures 2 Nuzlocke playthrough. If you haven't already, then go and watch the previous episodes of the playthrough, as we've already gotten 3 gym badges and we've had some deaths along the way. So starting off, we've just beaten Misty, the gym leader of Cerulean City, and now we're going to head down to Route 5 to continue on the story. So as you can see, we've got another encounter here as well, and I'm already eyeing up that Growlithe, because Arcanine's quite a useful Pokemon, and I'm pretty sure there's no trainers down here. So we go ahead and grab the Sunstone, and then we talk to the NPCs, but they're just talking to you about leaving Pokemon at the daycare and the mechanics of it as such. We then go ahead and encounter the Growlithe. We use Bill to weaken it down, and Growlithe also has the Intimidate ability, which is a very good ability for Nuzlocke because it drops attack stats when it enters the battle. So after one Psybeam, we throw a Great Wall and catch it. In the process, Gary also levels up and learns Water Pulse, which is a big improvement on Bubble. We call Growlithe Archie because I think it's a perfect name for an Arcanine. And then after the battle, we get a Raspberry which heals burns, and then some EXP candies. We then talk to this NPC because I wasn't sure if he was an actual battle or not, but it turns out it's just an NPC who tells you about using the bike to hatch eggs quicker. Then we go ahead and head into the daycare because you never know, there might be someone who gives you something. And then this NPC gives us the Destiny Nut, which I think is used for breeding. I think it guarantees 4 of the IVs between the 2 Pokemon are carried down. We then find the EV Resetter, which is quite useful, and then the IV Master. Now I wasn't really sure what this does, so I clicked Speed, and then I went ahead and clicked Susan. I'm assuming maybe it maxes out the IVs, but I can't be 100% sure because I never looked at what its speed stats were before changing it to see if it had gone up or not. But that might be something I'll have a little test with, and if it is what I think it is, then that's very interesting. We then talk to the old man outside, and he just says that his wife is the one you need to talk to. We then head to Saffron City, and there's the Pokemon Dojo here and a guy standing outside who actually turns out to be Bruno from the Elite Four. He asks us if we're here to challenge it, and then he goes ahead and runs off back to the Elite Four because there's a challenger waiting or something along the line. So as you can see, Saffron City looks a little bit different. There's still a lot of police around though from when Team Rocket attacked Sylph, and this guy actually tells you about why it's only got the 2 routes rather than 4. And then we head into this building, and I actually get a little bit freaked out here because I click this NPC and then all of a sudden it turns into me. Like, that is one little creepy child. And then the mum obviously wonders why she's got no friends. In the next building, we find the police station, and as you can see, looks like there's some Team Astra grunts in here. This is also where we need to go because Looker's upstairs. We go ahead and head upstairs where there's more police NPCs. None of them really tell you anything of much use, although this one NPC we're about to talk to talks about the ocean flavoured jelly, which I'm not going to lie is a little bit weird. Then as you can see, we found Looker, so we go ahead and tell him what Bill told us, and it's about Zapdos, Moltres and Articuno. He doesn't really give us any information of what the plan is to stop him, but he does go ahead and give us the ticket for SS because he thinks that the captain might have information information on where you can find them due to going all around the world on his ship. I suppose we got something useful out of him. After this, we head out and continue going around Saffron City. We then head into this building, which, if you remember from the original games, is I think the Psychic House, where you talk to this guy and he gives you the Psychic TM. He doesn't actually give you Psychic though, he gives you Psy Shock, which is kind of like Psychic, but it does damage based on the opponent's defense stat. This one gives us a little bit of useful information about the gym. Obviously we knew it was going to be Psychic because Sabrina always is, but Dark Pokemon would be very useful, and the only chance of getting one, I think at the moment, is the Alolan Rattata that we got given. So then we head into Silphco, and there's a lot in here, a lot of NPCs, so I've tried to cut it down to as much useful stuff as I can. So the first thing we've got is this shopkeeper who sells different types of balls. So these are all are they apricorn balls? I'm not too sure, but we go ahead and buy some anyway. 200 Pokedollars is quite cheap. Normally these sort of things are 1,000. I did think that fast ball was quick ball for a second, but then I stopped. And then this other person sells the other balls, which are 1,000. Luxury balls are my favourite Pokeball, so I had to go ahead and buy some of these. I actually felt like a kid in the candy shop here. We brought some quick balls as well, but first I had to sell the nugget that we've got to have the money to buy them. In fact, we've got 2 nuggets, so that's like 10,000. That's a lot, though it would only buy us 10 Pokeballs. So we pick up the quick balls and then save some money. Timer balls are good if you're going to catch legendaries, and dusk balls are obviously good for if you're catching anything in a cave. And then this shopkeeper sells the TRs. 10,000 Pokedollars is a lot, which we haven't got. And we also saw a new move called Florafang. I'm assuming that's like a grass version of Ice Fang and Fire Fang and stuff like that. Up next we got NPC who sells different tomes. So they basically are like drizzle ability and stuff like that, where it changes the weather when the Pokemon comes in. And then this NPC sells ability capsules and patches, but 20,000 Pokedollars is a lot to get a hidden ability on a Pokemon, so maybe when we got some more money we'll come back. We then go and meet the creator of the game, Charizardthree. Should have guessed it when I saw him with a Charizard next to him, but he goes ahead and gives you the Pokemon Mew, which we could actually use because obviously we haven't had an encounter in Saffron City. We go ahead and nickname it 2 because obviously Mewtwo. It was a pretty stupid name now I think back of it, but I genuinely couldn't think of anything. But it'll probably be staying in the box more than likely anyway. Up next we find a TM after getting stuck in that box, which is for round. Not really the best of moves. And then I think you can get another Porygon encounter here, the same as the one that you get at the lighthouse. We then find the secret hideout of this guy who works in the building. Peace and quiet, he says. Unfortunately we ruined that for him. And then the next floor, I think we've got more items. So this one you can buy the held items that boost the different types of moves, which is pretty useful. And then this NPC you can buy the evolution items. I still don't quite know what Black Augurite's for. I'm probably going to have a look into what that actually evolves. But then if you go and speak to the NPCs here, they give you ideas on how different Pokemon evolve. So obviously that guy tells you about how Rhydon evolves into Rhypheria. This NPC told us about different times for evolutions, and then he says that Metal Code for Cypher. I wouldn't actually mind using a Cypher if I can find one. And then this NPC, I thought he was going to give us an Eevee-like, but he doesn't, he just talks to us about it. We then find the trade centre, and there's actually some cool trades, but we don't really have any of the Pokemon that we could trade for. But if we do get them, I might come back and get some of these, especially that Farfetch one. And then that's all the useful stuff in Self-Co. So then we head down to Route 6, where we can actually get another encounter. I'm already eyeing up the Abra, because Alakazam is an unbelievable Pokemon. But we grab the rare candy, and then we continue along the route to see what other Pokemon you can see in the overworld. We also have some battles along the way, including this double battle. So we head on into this double battle, and it's not too challenging, but the levels are definitely getting up there. So they lead off with a Growlithe and Vulpix, we lead off with Bill and Drew, and then we go for a Psybeam on the Growlithe and a Dragon Breath, but it doesn't really do much, but nors a Flame Burst. Dragon Rage does do quite a bit though. So we get Growlithe down to about half, go for another Psybeam, and then we're going to switch out Drew because I kind of want to keep him around for a Charizard. We switch in Gary, get off an Intimidate, and then it gets hit with a Dragon Rage as well by Growlithe. Growlithe is now in the red, so we go for a Water Pulse on Vulpix, which takes that down to the red. We take a Feint Attack and another Dragon Rage, and then Bill knocks out the Growlithe with Psybeam. Next up they send out a Weeping Bow, so we go for a Psybeam on that and finish off the Vulpix with another Water Pulse. We do get paralysed though by Stun Spore from Weeping Bow, and I'm surprised that Psybeam only did half. So we go for another one, and then we go for a Bite on the Gloom. Gyarados just about lives after taking them 2 hits, so we're not going to take a chance, we're going to switch that out. We do knock the Weeping Bell out now. So back out comes Drew. Gloom just goes for Moonlight, which is perfect for us. We do get a Confusion as well off the Psybeam, and then Drew can just KO with Fire Fang. So we survived a little scare there, but it should have been easier than what it was really. We give up on learning Slash as well, because it's just a normal move, so it's not actually going to get super effective against anything. Next up, Bugcatcher's got a Parasect, just the one Pokemon, so we switch out into Zach, who is going to tank every attack that Parasect has, I think. Air Cutter takes it down to red. It does have Slash though, but thankfully it doesn't get a crit. And then another Air Cutter can take it out. It also learns Hypnosis, which we replace Mega Drain with, just because it can be a battle decider if you put something to sleep. And Jeffrey also wants to learn Grass Pledge, which is quite an upgrade on Razor Leaf. Next we've got Fisherman Barry, who has a Magikarp and Poliwag, and I thought, oh, this is simple, just a Poliwag, but turns out Magikarp actually has attacks like Water Gun and Tackle and stuff like that. But we switched out Drew anyway. Susan tanks a Body Slam, and Bubble doesn't really do much. Psybeam with a crit just about doesn't knock out Poliwag. But then a Hyper Fang on Magikarp takes it down to red. We do get paralysed this time as well. And then Psybeam can take out the Poliwag. and then with just the Magikarp left, it's not going to be hard to win this battle. After the battle, Bill wants to learn Recover, which means we could actually turn Bill into a bit of a tank if we can get the Eviolite. We then go ahead and get our encounter, which is the Abra, and we actually encounter it while it's disappeared. The issue we're going to have though is it's going to teleport if we try and attack it, so this is where the quick balls come in handy. However, it's still a percentage because it's no guaranteed catch. So we throw a quick ball and we get it. So looks like we might be getting the Alakazam. We go ahead and call this Abra Merlin. I'm trying to think of names for wizards or magicians, and this is the only one that I could think of. So now Merlin goes to the box and it drops an Oran Berry and some small EXP candies. We can then go ahead and pick up the item, which is a Super Repel. We then accidentally run into this Jigglypuff because it weren't going to let us pass. We pick up the other item, which is a Revive, and we're kind of having to be careful at the moment because the Pokemon are leveling up and they're close to the level cap, which is level 27. So we do this double battle, and then I think that's all we're going to be able to do. So we got Camper and Picnicker, and they start off with two baby Pokemon. Again, I feel bad beating up baby Pokemon, but this is a Nuzlocke and we have to get through without deaths. Metal Claw takes Jigglypuff down to about 2/3. Does have rollout though, so you clearly can't be messing around with it. Another Metal Claw takes it out, and then Porygon goes for a Psybeam, and that takes out the Pichu. Fortunately, Drew's been paralysed by a Spark, and then out comes the evolutions, Jigglypuff and Pikachu. So we're going to switch out Drew, and we're going to bring in Jeffrey. Bill hits Psybeam on Pikachu and gets the confusion as well. And then we go for a Sludge on the Jigglypuff. Pikachu's now in the red and Jigglypuff gets taken out by the Sludge. That means we can just now focus on taking the Pikachu out, and then Happiny, which is another baby Pokemon. We do switch out Jeffrey though and bring in Zach. Happiny obviously being a pre-evolution of Chansey and Blissey means that it gives off decent XP. It also has no defensive stats, so it's not going to stand a chance with this Poison Fang. Psybeam then finishes it off as well. And then that's the end of the battles. But we can now go to Vermilion City. But from what I can see, our rival's waiting, so if we go down, we're probably going to end up in a battle. This guy I thought was going to give us a rod, because I'm sure in the original games you do, but this one doesn't. We could trade our newly caught Abra for a Rhyhorn, but I feel like Alakazam's a better Pokemon than Rhyperior. If anybody remembers the original games, then you'll remember this guy constantly building with his Machoke, but as you can see, it's now actually a park and he's got a Machamp. We get the TM for Water Pools and head back to Saffron City, and on the way we find this TM for Flame Charge, which I don't know how I didn't see originally, but we've now got a level up ready for Sabrina, and I realised looking at a team that we're going to need this Alolan Rattata. So we take out Jeffrey and swap it for Rattata, and then we've still got the dojo to get up some levels on it. So we head on up to the dojo, and I think there's 3 battles. The first 2 are door battles, so we make sure we've got our team ready before heading in. So the first double battle, they have a Poliwrath and a Farfetch'd. That is the Farfetch'd that I want though, because it's Galarian, and I think Surfetch'd is one of the best Pokemon that came from Galar. We have to switch out Drew though, because Poliwrath's a bit of a threat, and we can switch in Gary and get off the Intimidate. Air Cutter does quite a lot of damage. Gary gets put to sleep by a Hypnosis, but Peck's not really doing much. Another Air Cutter takes out Farfetch'd, and now Poliwrath's down to about 2/3. Zach wants to learn Leech Life, which I think is a good move, because it's also going to become Stab. Actually no, it's not, because it doesn't become Bug when it evolves. I don't know where I've got that from. But yeah, Air Cutter can finish off Poliwrath, and Gary can stay asleep. Drew wants to learn Fire Pledge, so we go ahead and get rid of Leah. Next double battle, we have the evolution of the Farfetch'd, Surfetch'd, and just a Mankey. So we lead off with Wendy and Drew. Surfetch'd uses Detect, so Firefang doesn't do much. Cross Chop is resisted by Wendy as well. Firefang fortunately gets the burn on Surfetch'd as well. And Brutal Swing doesn't do too much. As you can see, we're trying to focus on the Surfetch'd because it's the biggest threat. I then go to switch out Wendy, and Mankey hits us with Pursuit and knocks it out. I hate that move. Gary can come in though and use its Intimidate to lower everyone's attack. And the burn finally takes out Surfetch'd. With just a Mankey left, Water Pulse takes it down to red, and then Firefang finally knocks out the Mankey. And then next up comes a Machop, which again shouldn't be too much. Thankfully Water Pulse knocks it out, because I wasn't sure if it got Guts ability, which means that burn would have been against us. We then go and level up the rest of our Pokemon using EXP candies, just so we can get up to the level for Sabrina. Merlin evolves into Kadabra, which means it's a little bit useful now. It's still got absolutely no defense, but it does hit hard for a special attack. Rattata learning Sucker Punch is going to be very good because it's Stab and it's also priority. Going to be useful against Sabrina, I'd say. Once it gets up to level 20, Rattata also becomes a Raticate, which means that it's got more attack and it's quicker. Although the speed doesn't really matter if you're going to be using Sucker Punch anyway. But this is going to be a key Pokemon for this next gym. We farmed up some EXP candies off the wild Pokemon on Route 6, and then we can use them to level up everyone. Dorothy goes ahead and evolves into Dugtrio, which is going to be a useful Pokemon for the gym leader after Sabrina, which will be Lieutenant Surge. I'm not 100% sure when Charles actually evolves, because we got up to level 28 and it still wasn't enough. After we'd finished leveling everyone up, we went and used the Firestone on Archie to turn it into an Arcanine, which means that it's now quite bulky and got more attack for it. It also learns Extreme Speed, which is priority, and it could become useful against Alakazam. Obviously Sabrina's gym has got this puzzle where you have to step on the wall panels, so I kinda just kept going left, right or up. There was no real formula to this. I was just hoping to get there without going into any battles. We did somehow end up walking into this guy though, because I think I was getting impatient, but all he's got is a Smoochum, a Slowking, and it shouldn't be too much for Raticate to deal with. We can go ahead and Sucker Punch the Slowking, and then a Fire Fang will take out Smoochum. Slowking's Berry does bring it back up to half, and Waterfall does about half to Archie, but then a Bite and a Dragon Rage takes out Slowking. We do actually miss the Bite though, but thankfully Slowking only goes for Curse, otherwise we would have lost Archie. Hustle, although it increases your damage, the accuracy drops really not good. Thankfully the next panel takes us to Sabrina, and this is going to be a very challenging fight. She leads off with an Espeon, which hits hard. It's also got Baton Pass and Calm Mind. A Bite thankfully takes it down to over half, and she hasn't tried to set up. She has taken Gary down to 28 HP though, so we can't afford to stay around for Alakazam. Alakazam's a little tricky because it also knows a Fairy type move, so switching Raticate in could become a problem. I brought in Merlin hoping that we could tank a hit, but the crit and the special defense drop means that we can't take that risk. Thankfully we've got Archie though, who is a little bit bulky. It also goes for Dazzling Gleam, which is resisted, so we can start getting off some chip damage. Extreme Speed takes it down to just under half, and for some reason it goes Dazzling Gleam again. Then it goes for Recover and we hit it with Fire Fang, which takes it down to half. Psychic brings us down to 10, and then a second Fire Fang can knock it out. Thankfully we got through this without losing anyone. Last Pokemon's Mr. Mime, and it only knows Psychic moves, so Raticate absolutely walls it because it can't hit us. So we just go through the process of grinding it down with Bites. It would help though if you didn't keep missing. Because it can't hit us, all it does is just keep setting up Calm Minds. And then 4 Bites can take out Mr. Mime. It does go ahead and learn Crunch, which I wish it would have learned earlier, because obviously that's quite a lot better than Bite. Normal Raticate also learns the same move, so we go ahead and get rid of Tail Whip. But now we've beaten Sabrina, we've got our 4th gym badge and the Marsh badge. And we actually got through it without losing a single Pokemon for a change. She gives us TRs for Calm Mind. And that's where we're going to end the episode. So next we've got Lieutenant Surge, and we've also got to head to the SS Anne. I think you have to do that before Lieutenant Surge. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you all for the next one. Peace out.